What's up, guys? Based on Cinema, back at it again. I'm Jacob.
I'm Nick.
And here we're doing Terrifier 2016. A maniac named Art the Clown terrorizes two friends on Halloween and everyone who gets in his way. It is spooky season, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to start with Terrifier, and we're going to work our way to Terrifier 2. We're definitely going to do Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2 because right now Terrifier is all the hype, and this is probably my fourth time watching it. I watched it last night and into today. Finished it today, made some notes, kind of wrote down the chronology of the film just for reference. And Nick, I know you've seen it a few times too, right?
Yes, sir.
So, listen, man, this is a breakthrough in a sense for modern horror. It did come out 8 years ago, almost 10 years ago today. But this is a rejuvenation in the slasher genre, in my opinion. It's bringing a whole new life to slasher films, and it does it in a way that is original and compelling. It takes some aspects of old horror a little bit, but I mean that's kind of it's gonna happen in slashers, and we'll get into that. But this is classified as a slasher horror, and there also is a subgenre called splatter horror. Never knew that.
Oh,
and
shit.
It is also classified as a thriller, but it's definitely a slasher horror movie. So
I don't know if this holds a candle to the new Halloween trilogy, and I'm talking about just this is an independent film. I don't know if this. I think it holds its own against all three of those.
I agree. No, because those movies were just very.
Gives
what's a
sequel
word?
trilogy.
Yeah, just
Star Wars
run for its money.
It feels like the Star Wars.
I would rather watch Terrifier 3 times than watch the Halloween sequel trilogy in sequential order. Like I would watch Terrifier back to back to back.
The David Gordon Green Halloween movies.
Yes, correct. And I would like to at some point do all of the Halloween movies for this channel. I would love to do that.
Oh shit!
I would. Love
wait. That would be good for like the Halloween, like exactly. We post them on Halloween.
Yeah, we could do the Halloween itself. So, I'm down to do that. I'm down to watch all of them. I did binge them a little while ago, but honestly, I can't remember much because I stopped it in such an abrupt way. Mm-hmm. And I would love to do that. I mean, I would love to do the Friday the 13th movies. I would love to do the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I actually have never seen the Nightmare on Elm Street movies at all. I've seen like clips of the first one, but I never actually watched the whole thing through.
Smack you.
It's your fault.
Smack you. It's your fault.
No, it's your fault.
You got free time. You watch all these movies.
It's your fault.
Watch Nightmare on Elm Street.
It's your fault for not raising me up correctly.
I did, and now I'm disappointed.
All right, so we got Damien Leone. Damien Leone, why is this page not loading? Okay, here we go. He's been in the game for, like I said, almost a decade. He has made the first short film called The Ninth Circle, and that was the first appearance of Art the Clown. He was a special effects technician for Uncle Bob, special effects makeup for a movie called Zenith, special effects makeup for a short. Obviously, the guy has experience with special effects, and that is very prevalent in Terrifier if you've ever seen the movie. He was a writer, director for the Terrifier movies and for the movies themselves. Let me just clarify something here.
Mm-hmm.
He's directed The Ninth Circle, Terrifier, the original short, All Hallows Eve. He did not do All Hallows Eve 2. He did Frankenstein versus the Mummy. Never seen it. He did Terrifier, the new one, which we're reviewing today, Terrifier 2, and Terrifier 3.
Sick.
So we have a few stars here that I would like to talk about because, I mean, this movie definitely gave a lot of exposure for these actresses. We have Jenna Cannell. Mm-hmm. And once again, we have female characters in a horror movie. It seems like it's a very inescapable dilemma for horror movies.
Just having like female target,
lead in general,
not protagonists, but like leads. Yeah. I was gonna say targets because like
killers
are always trying to kill them.
So we have Jenna Cannell. She plays Tara, which is the main woman that we follow throughout the movie. She's been in a bit. She's been in some TV. She actually has a lot of accreditation throughout the last 10 years.
Nice.
But she's been in a couple music videos. She's been little side characters in some movies and shorts. Like I said, Terrifier was like her big one. That was her kind of her turnaround to really get exposed. 'Cause right after that, she was in a movie called Bye Bye Man.
Ooh, that movie. Mm-mm.
Never seen it, but she was in that.
Bad.
She was in some NCIS. She was in a movie
Nice.
called The Good Die Young. Bunch of other TV movies. That's what I mean. Like, she's done a lot since then, and she's just still trying to. I don't know if she's blacklisted for Terrifier. I mean, that happens to some people, but I don't think that's the case here.
I think she's blacklisted for Bye Bye Man.
Okay.
Because that movie.
Okay. She was in WandaVision. She was a med tech, so like a little side character.
Oh, cool.
Maybe
not.
She's shown in Terrifier 2, so she has credits for that. She was in Renfield.
Oh, shit.
Yep, and she was in Bad Boys Ride or Die. So right around 2023, 2024, she started getting some more bigger roles.
Picking up some traction.
And she's going to be in a new TV movie called Secret Life of the Dominatrix. So then we have Samantha Scafidi, which is the sister Victoria to Tara.
Ooh.
Like Tara, the actress who plays Tara, she's been in a bunch of shorts and some TV. Terrifier was her big break as well. And after that, she was in a bunch of kind of low budget stuff, some shorts, a lot of shorts here. And then, obviously she's in Terrifier 2, and she is credited for Terrifier 3.
I think I did see her in the trailer.
So that could be why. Final one we have here. Actually, I'm going to do two more. We have with Catherine Corinne, and she was, what's her name? She was Dawn, which was the friend, the blonde friend.
Yep.
Who has a horrible demise in Terrifier. She as well
Never
was
be the blonde friend.
Yeah. She was also in some shorts and some TV, and just like the rest, Terrifier was the big one. After that, she was doing some shorts and some short roles. A lot of shorts, though. A lot of short films. And she was in a movie called Faceless After Dark. She was in some Ice 9 Kills stuff as well.
Okay.
Lastly, we have Puya Massini. She played the Catwoman, or the homeless woman, which I address her as in my notes.
Yeah.
Because she is. She
is
a
baby lady.
Baby lady. She was, she's a bit older, so she's been in a lot more. In the shorts, some TV, some movies that we've never heard before. Like I said, Terrifier. After that, she got into some more TV, some more shorts. And if you love acting, man, you got to show it. And this is why people do shorts and stuff all the time. She played a judge in SVU. More shorts, more TV, more shorts. Then she gets into a Hellboy video game in 2023. She voices one of the characters. She was in a movie called Nightmare Radio. And she was in Destiny 2 video game as well. And a movie called Bound. So, I mean, I'm curious because, like, and I'll talk about this a little bit.
Who plays the clown? Who said that?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Nick. David Howard Thornton plays the clown, Art the Clown, in Terrifier. Little fun fact, just to bring out context. He was not the original clown in All Hallows Eve. That actor quit acting altogether, and he was pretty sick of the constant special effects and makeup he had to go through. And I mean, if you know film at all and some basic knowledge of makeup and film, especially nowadays, you know how time consuming it is to put it on and take it off. It's ridiculous. And doing that for another film and then a film after that, it just gets ridiculous for him. And I totally understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But he did some anime. He did some dubbing for anime. Did some video games. He was an orderly in Gotham. He was the Joker in a Nightwing Escalation TV series. And a fun fact, the Joker he likes a lot. He's in a couple more TV series and a movie called The Exigency. Some more TV. A couple other movies. He was in The Mean One.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah. He played the Grinch.
him. He played the Grinch. I really want to see that movie. We should do that during Christmas
I need
time.
to see it. I'm down.
And, he was also, what is this, Bupkis?
Bupkis? He played Rocky's dog?
Bupkis is... It followed Pete Davidson's life, combining grounded storytelling with some absurd limits. Okay. So he's featured in there as Art the Clown for some reason.
Yeah, that's the movie with the clip. Wakanda Forever.
Is that it?
He says Wakanda Forever, and the girl's like, there's no ER after Wakanda. She's like, you don't even know it. He's like, no, I do. Shut up, kid.
She's just too stupid to realize the joke.
No, he's just faking it. He was trying to make it seem like he had seen it, so that he wouldn't get yelled at in the scene.
But there's a joke there, if you catch my drift. But
there is a joke there. David Howard Thornton. He was just interviewed recently. A little fun fact, and me not knowing originally that he was the voice of the Joker and something. He was doing a meetup at a convention just recently with somebody, and they asked him who would he want to play in another movie or another film or another series, and he said, I'd love to play the Joker. So James Gunn, if you're listening, and he did it in a Joker voice, very similar to Mark Hamill's Joker. Even the laugh, almost spot on.
You could definitely watch that for sure.
I was like, dude, if there's anybody right now who you could put as Joker, who's not mainstream, not really that well known, he is the guy. He's used to prosthetics. He's used to makeup. Put him in the suit. Put him in the costume.
Like I said, he was in a. It's listed as a TV series, but it looks like a short film that somebody made, and he did play the Joker in it.
That was
in 2011. So he's a lot younger. The photos show that as well. But I mean, he has played the Joker in one way, shape, or form. So if you want a little taste of how he would be, I mean, listen, it is like a low budget short film, but you never know how his performance could be. But there you have it. So let's get into this movie, man.
Do it.
So the movie opens with a static TV, slow zoom-in shots. It's the first time we see a witness of the Terrifier's danger, Art the Clown's danger. The face makeup looks great. The special effects on the victim, as shown on screen. And you could tell that the film's budget went a lot into the special effects. And you can kind of see this in the acting. And you can see this in the way it's shot. You can tell that it's not as cinematic as it would be if it were, say, produced by big budget Hollywood.
Blumhouse.
You could just tell, even though Blumhouse has done a lot of bad stuff with a lot of good stuff, but in recent years, a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah.
But the acting in the movie as well, because I was going to mention this earlier, it's not the best. It's not bad either. It's solid. It works well. It doesn't take you away from anything, but it makes sense why we have these actors and actresses who aren't really seen in anything else, and they're put into these roles because I think the director and the crew could afford them, and a lot of their money was going into the prosthetics and the makeup, and that's just obvious. I mean, we're gonna go into that all, but because they looked great. But you could tell with the acting, and you could tell with the way that it looks, it didn't have the biggest budget. That's okay though, because you have Halloween, which was technically low budget, and was shot on film. So once you shoot on film, it's gonna look better anyway, in my opinion. But
now it's expensive to shoot on film.
But at the time, Halloween was technically a low budget movie. I don't know about Friday the 13th. I think that had a bigger budget, but what I'm trying to say is that a movie like this, it doesn't look or sound or feel as much as a big budget horror film would. It does everything well, and it works just fine.
Works just fine.
Works just fine. So we see a close-up shot of the victim. We don't know who she is yet. And following this interview, we see Arthur. I called him Arthur on accident. I'm sorry. We see Art the Clown suit up like a superhero going out to battle. He puts on his nose, he puts on his makeup, and he grabs his bag and he heads out to go.
Got his ammo bag.
Yeah, his ammo bag. And it does have the classic kind of, the way I described it when I was rewatching this, it has like the classic first movie of the franchise feel. There's a feel that Friday the 13th has. There's a feel Halloween, the first one, has that even the second one doesn't have. It's a feel that it just has this first movie of a franchise feel, and it works so well. The titles, the music, it just has that feel to it even right off the gate. I like the way it opens up a lot. This general opening of this introduction of this mutilated woman. We see Art straight away going into his role, suiting up and going out. We see the victim basically we see the victim attack the talk show interviewee after the interview in her dressing room. She's talking smack and basically gets murked by this victim. This victim is totally changed and almost animalistic in her current mental state, and she's severely traumatized. She basically pushes her eyes into her head. Yeah, she pushes her eyes into her head, killing her, and she laughs about it. So she's severely traumatized, and she has a lot of PTSD, and she's obviously a changed woman. And even right away, I mean, in the first 5 minutes, you see that, and the eyes and the makeup look legit and realistic, very realistic. I mean, we've never seen that in person, but if I had to guess how that would look, that was how it would look.
Yeah.
Arthur, a future Santa Claus, walks around with his sack. He finds two young girls, and who we know to be as Tara and Dawn. And this shot when they're walking through the alleyway, and they see Art for the first time. What a shot! A film being made at this time in the 21st century, in the 2010s. And it feels this creepy and this genuine. Even today, like watching back on it, I'm like, damn, this is good. Being a fan of horror, you watch so many bad horror movies, and you watch the same good ones over and over again to a degree. And this film sets up Art the Clown perfectly. And the shots that they choose to put him in, he looks so damn creepy. And you just think like the good movies make you like. The bad ones do this too, but in a negative sense. But the good horror films, you see something creepy and you're like, dang, what if I was there? What if I saw that in person? I would be freaked out, man. Yeah. Versus a bad horror movie where it's like, how could you do that? If that were me, I would just do X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This like puts you in the perspective of like being scared yourself. Right from the shot, right when this first shot, when you see him in the alleyway and he's smiling, it's just so creepy and it's so great. And it kind of gives you the feel like, man, we're going to go in for a ride. Arthur has found his game to play. He seems excited. He's smiling. He seems excited. He goes from not smiling at all to smiling when he sees the women. And he's excited. So we enter the pizza shop. Tara and her friend Dawn go inside the pizza shop. They're, kind of BSing, having conversation about some guy. And Arthur makes his next appearance through the pizza shop, and he enters into a booth by the door. During his entrance, he stares her down, Tara, the whole way. As he walks in, as he sits down, he just stares at her. During his, he then smiles, and it kind of goes back and forth. It's like a sequential order shot of like going back to Tara, going back to him, going back to Tara, going back to him, and each time they do it, his face changes, and it's just great. It's a great shot sequence, and this is another element to where it's like you could tell it doesn't look the best that it could be, but the acting and the horrifying image that is Art the Clown just reels you in regardless. The pizza shop owner is believable. He goes over to Art. He's like, dude, you going to order anything? Because if you're not going to order anything, you got to go. And he doesn't order anything. And he's like, today, it's going to be one of those nights. And he just, even the owner of the pizza shop is believable as an actor. Even the girls is both solid. Dawn asks for a picture with Art the Clown. Arthur was not very pleased, especially after she like takes his hat and then she kind of lets it go and it pops right in his face. And you can tell like you do not want to do that with a guy that looks like this. So then Art gets up and goes to the bathroom, and the pizza shop confronts Arthur as he proceeds to enter the bathroom. After receiving a prize from the vending machine, he goes to the vending machine and takes some tip change off of the table behind the girls. He pops it into the vending machine, gets a prize, and it's a ring. He goes over to Tara, gets on his knee, and then presents her with the ring. And they have a very happy life in their future together. Puts it right on her ring finger, and walks to the bathroom.
That's the end of the movie.
That's the end of the movie. Main chick is Tara is curious about what's in the bag, and the owner finds Arthur in the bathroom, kicks him out after discovering the bathroom. We don't know what happened in the bathroom, but he gets kicked out. Arthur waves goodbye. The ladies leave. We don't know what happens in the bathroom yet. The ladies leave and walk down the road. Tara throws her ring on the ground, and back at the car, they find a flat tire. They don't have a spare because it's already on the car. We discover the bathroom is littered with feces and urine, and what also, in my opinion, looked like blood, with Art spelled out on the wall. It signifies his name, but also, if you think about it, it could be a little deeper, showing like this is Art.
Dude, that scene in the bathroom, like the reveal of what Art was doing in there, when I first saw that, even like the third or fourth time I watched it, I was just looking at it like,
yeah.
I was like, oh, dude, because you can imagine, just get an idea like how bad it probably is.
You worked at a movie theater when the pipes got clogged.
Dude, I don't think I was there for that.
Oh, you weren't?
I don't think so.
So we used to work at a movie theater, Nick and I, and the essentially the building's pipes the sewage pipes, it got clogged, and then it went through the bathrooms, and luckily I didn't have to help with that process, but
I remember somebody took a shit in the sink, though.
That happened.
That was a thing.
Yes, people do. Happened. So this is not an unbelievable scenario.
And someone took a shit on the walkway to the trash can against the walkway wall.
You saw that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody cleaned it because it stayed there for months, from like fall till winter, and it was like even in the wintertime, like after the snow had covered it and started melting again, you could see it, like the remains of like where it was, kind of.
Did you tell anybody?
Yeah, I told everybody. Nobody listened. Nobody gave a fuck. I was like, yeah, cool.
You weren't gonna do it.
I wasn't gonna clean that shit. Literally.
So Tara calls up her sister for a pickup. Tara and her friend wait in the car, and Tara is paranoid and thinks about Art. She also comes up with the theory that Art popped the tire, which is completely reasonable. The pizza employee finishes the bathroom and finds his boss's head made into a jack-o'-lantern, and that looked really good in terms of like a special effects. It looked really good. He tried to run, but Art cuts off his fingers and then stabs him in the face. Not bad special effects here either. It wasn't bad, but it was one of the choppiest moments in terms of special effects and makeup. It did look like the most iffy, but it still worked just fine.
They made it believable with what they had available to them, and I was like, okay.
Absolutely. He proceeds to make the employee's face into red mashed potatoes. And once again, the effects are fine here. And I do dig the way the jack-o'-lantern looks. I'm still unsure. Like, he had to have had cut off his head and then removed what was inside and then stuffed it with a candle and then lit it. So maybe he had that in his bag, the candle. And then that's what I think. But, he obviously did this pretty quickly. Tara needs to use the restroom and asks a gentleman working in a building who comes out for a smoke to use the restroom. He says to at first, but eventually lets her go to the bathroom. Dawn stays in the car. She keeps a subtle hint of comedic timing. but can be a little intentionally annoying, but that's intentional and it works. Tara is escorted by the exterminator to the bathroom. She looks around and takes her time. She just kind of like, she's like, I gotta go so bad. And then she goes to the bathroom. She's just taking a look around. She takes her sweet time and like, come on, you got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Go to the bathroom.
Go.
It's a continuity thing for me, but that's just nitpicking. It's just nitpicking. Tara's friend is in the car, and she hears of the pizza shop's double homicide, and she's freaking out. And then Art the clown enters the car. She thinks it's Tara. And Arthur's timing is impeccable. He obviously has done this before, and if he hasn't, he's really good at it. There's some obvious reasons why later down the line of why he could be so good at it, but his timing is impeccable. Exterminator goes back to work, leaving Tara to do her business. Tara leaves the bathroom. She hears a wild cat moaning in the dark. She goes to investigate. And I don't know why anybody would do this in the first place. I mean, if you're in a place that's creepy and you use the bathroom and it's all run by rats, and why would you just go check out a wild cat when you really just want to get the hell out of there?
No, that's the thing I've noticed with girls primarily.
In horror movies?
No, just in real life too. If they hear or see a cat like in some sketchy fucking area, they're gonna go and try and like get that cat or pet that cat.
Any of you girls out there confirm this?
They don't care how dark it is, how disgusting, how weird it looks. Not the cat itself, but like the area.
Yeah.
They'll go towards that cat, and I've seen it firsthand a couple of times. Different girls in my lifetime. And it's just like, I'm over here like, dude, get the fuck in the car. Why the fuck are we stopped? Why are we here? Why are you? Who the fuck stopped? Who the fuck drove us here?
Mm-hmm.
I
want some viewers in the chat to confirm that.
Something that happens, and hopefully we have female viewers that can confirm that this is a real thing that they do, because I'm calling y'all out. Y'all go for the cats no matter what, and it's ridiculous. This is a prime example in this movie. One of the times it's ridiculous.
So Sarah eventually finds a homeless, psychotic woman who's mentally ill. She has a baby doll who she thinks is her real daughter, Emily. It's safe to say she lives in the building. I like her acting as well. They both play their role fine. And Tara comes off with a good excuse to say, because she's like, oh, you must be the new tenant here. And Tara's like, well, yeah, my rent is due actually, so I'm going to go. And she goes to, pay her rent, quote unquote. And then the homeless woman says, punctuality is the thief of time, dear. And I wonder what she meant by that. And I was going to give that some thought. I don't think it's anything too deep, but I thought it was interesting that she said that. Mm-hmm. As Tara quickly goes to leave, she goes to the door, stops dead in her tracks, and finds Arthur at the door, smiling back at her.
It's Art, damn it!
They're silent. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Art. Because I have it written down as Arthur because I thought I heard it as Arthur, and I'm really bad at remembering names, and I have not edited my notes, so I apologize if I keep calling it Arthur, but I know he's Art.
He could have come for you.
Maybe. There's silence and shots going back and forth in between the two. He then runs and chases at her as she runs away. This is my favorite scene.
I love that because he's just like...
This is like such a good scene. Because like you don't expect it, and then she goes to leave, and you just see Art like this. And he's like, you got me. Oops, I didn't expect you to see me this early. And it's so good because like his expression is so obvious on why he got caught, and she just stares at him like, wait, he's here. He's got a scalpel in his hand. He's bloody, and man, that's such a good scene. So, and the shots and the like had a perfect amount of time in between them before he dove at her.
It's very fresh. You don't really see that ever. Like even with like Ghostface, who's one of the more humorous too. You've never seen him go, "Oh shit, you caught me."
Right.
And that's something like I agree. It's a fresh, new thing, and it
unexpected.
Creates one of the most memorable moments of the film and franchise, I would say.
I mean, whenever I see a clip from the movie, that one pops up a lot. Partially because a lot of the other clips are gory, but this one is like the one that I remember the most, and the one that's spread around the most, I would say. And I love this scene.
It's like when
it's hilariously scary.
That's what you see.
Right. I agree. Yeah, I agree. So the hunt begins. Tara sneaks around the lower regions of the building, the first floor, hiding from Arthur with no way out in sight. She hides. Arthur takes his time finding her, appreciating his scalpel and continuing the hunt. Just literally stands there, looks at his scalpel, and continues to walk around slowly. He teases her with scraping the scalpel around some cars. He walks slowly. He stands still, and he disappears from view. And during this scene, there were some interesting color tones. Like, there was like a pinkish, reddish light shining on her. I wonder if it was red, and then when they put on the
Use color,
the
like
light,
color theory.
whatever LUT they used, or the color that they used, or the way they changed it, it was really pink, and it was, I don't understand like why it was pink in there. There wasn't anything that would show that, I don't think, at least from me watching it. I can't remember.
I think it might have been one of those things where they try to use colors to express like emotion or feelings in the film. You know, like
Yeah.
how the movie Her is like a lot of reds and orange. The Batman's a lot of greens and like like
cooler
this
hues and
background.
sharper. Yeah.
And then Man of Steel, like very more neutral,
Pretty.
flatter colors, but like still has some like you can still see.
Mm-hmm.
Saw,
Saw.
a lot of greens.
Greens and blues and
A lot of
Saw.
greens and blues and Saw. Neon Demon.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it probably was like a creative decision just to like emulate feelings or emotions in the situation.
Yeah,
Like
I
that might
wouldn't
have
turn
been
that
what it
down.
was.
I wouldn't turn that down at all.
I'd say like a 50-50 on that.
Right. Art finds Tara, sneaks up behind her, tears up her leg. She gets her calf specifically, but she gets freed for just a second, and he begins to strangle her and attempts to gouge her eyes out. She finds and grabs a scalpel and stabs Arthur's side. She hides once again with another weapon. Art is amused. He's like, oh, we're having fun, and listens for any sounds. Tara creates a distraction for just a moment by throwing a piece of metal. Tara's sister hears the news of the double homicide on the radio when she's driving to pick up her sister. And then we see the hunt resuming. Tara escapes the first floor and makes her way to the main door, finding it locked because the exterminator locked it, thinking that she was probably out of there. She finds the exterminator, or Art locked it, but I think it was the exterminator, who knows. She finds the exterminator and screams at him. She goes up to the second floor, finds him, screams at him, but he can't hear to do his music. Art grabs Tara and quickly sedates her. And it was kind of a quick little shot. He kind of just grabs a needle, dirty needle, stabs her in the neck, and she's out. It would take a little bit more time. But it happened really fast, and we don't even really see him, like, inject it.
That's the thing with, like, it's a movie trope. They do that. It's not even just this one. They just be like, and the person's like, oh, shit.
And they're out. Yeah. I mean, I think it could affect you that quickly because your blood, it travels so fast. Like, how many miles per hour is it? Like, how... It honestly is kind of crazy.
1,000 miles per hour. Pretty fucking wild.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so it's only 3 to 4, but like for your body, it's walking speed for us.
Really?
So we walk 3 to 4 miles per hour, and that's just fast. Okay, so that's fast enough so that a drug injected into the arm reaches the brain in only a few seconds.
Shit.
Okay, so her like passing out in a few seconds makes sense, but like it still should have taken a long.
Weird.
It happened like this.
Yeah.
It was so fast. Like at the snap of a finger, it stabs her. She's out, and we don't even see him and like inject it. So it works, but at the same time, very quick.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
All right. Tara wakes up to find herself strapped in a chair. We see a cloth draped down, and some feet are in front of her. Arthur looks at his toys with excitement. He fakes an attack on her a few times with a hammer, toying with her. He grabs a saw and pretends to cut her once more, and the audience has no idea, zero idea, of the scene that is about to commence.
Mm-mm.
He pulls down the cloak, and we see Tara's friend suspended by her feet, almost fully nude.
No.
Oh no. She's almost completely nude, and we get some typical horror slasher breasts, and you can't have a proper slasher film without some boobs, apparently. And
That little show.
little show, it happens like every single time with like these very. I mean, listen, I haven't seen Nightmare on Elm Street yet. Is there boobs?
In the first one, I don't think there is.
Respect.
I don't think there is. I don't think
Respect.
Wes Craven was that kind of a director.
Okay. Respect. We see it in Halloween. We see it in Friday the 13th.
Mhm.
We don't see it in Saw.
Could be wrong. Could be. It's been a while since I saw the first one, but I don't believe I remember seeing any actual like nipple.
Okay, but it's not. I mean, this is just typical, and you can't really be surprised. So
Yeah.
she's suspended by her feet. She's upside down, and the sequence is very specific and their shots. So we see Art rips off her underwear. She throws it away, throws it off to the side, places the saw very specifically, and then saws through her body from her privates down. And we get some gruesome shots here. Very gruesome shots. And then if you're watching this movie at this point, you're like, holy crap. We're only like 25, 30 minutes in. Art doesn't even fully watch what he's doing. He's just sawing, and he's watching Tara's reaction to see, like, he's just having fun. And then he looks at Tara's reaction for like quite a bit of time, and then he goes back to sawing, and he's distracted. He's enjoying himself a little too much. Tara is like trying to escape at this point. She does eventually get her hands free. She grabs a knife and stabs Arthur in the back, and she runs away without the knife still in his back. Why? If you're gonna stab somebody in the back, and you know that the door's locked, or if you stab somebody in the back who's trying to kill you, just keep stabbing him.
I think one of the biggest things I have a problem with certain, like not all horror movies, just certain ones,
Of course.
is when the protagonist finally gets the upper hand, has a weapon, does this type of thing where they stab the person, leave it in them, and run away, or they stab them, they back up, the person's down, they're like, ugh, and they drop it,
Yeah.
and they run away, or
Even if
just,
they're unconscious.
leaving behind a perfectly good weapon to defend yourself against this brutal homicidal maniac, whoever it may be, and just not thinking straight. I get it, panic situation, fight or flight, but I feel like any rational human being, no matter the situation, if their life's at hand, life's at stake, they're gonna fucking hold on to dear life to the one thing that can protect it.
I do think, like, if you have somebody, and this happens with guy characters as well, like characters who are men. It happens. But I think, like, in real life situations, if you have somebody who's more on the flight side, I can see them stabbing and then running. But in these movies, it's like, in horror movies, it's as if horror movies don't exist unless they make it a thing. You know what I mean?
I just remembered Ben from Speak No Evil.
Right. Go watch our Speak No Evil 2 review. And I'm not going to talk about that. Because
See how we feel about that. That's what this reminded me of. That whole trope just reminded me of that.
No, of course. I totally understand why it would. So instead of carrying the knife and taking it, she grabs another weapon, a block of wood. Kind of like a 2x4. She sneaks behind Arthur and starts beating him with the wood. And instead of just having the knife, she beats him to the ground and shouts at him to get up. So at this point, you're like, oh, she's winning. She's doing good. She's about to actually... Okay, so now she doesn't need a knife. She's going to beat him with some wood. She goes confident. He's like, get up. She's like, get up, get up, get up. And then we see him pull out a gun from his ankle and shoot her in the thigh. And at this point, you're like, well, Arthur isn't... You can tell he's enjoying the experience, but he's not going to let anybody get the upper hand against him. He's gonna win, and he doesn't care.
Fights dirty.
Yeah, he fights dirty. He's almost in disgust that he allowed her to gain an advantage on him.
He looked at her with the gun and said, I'm going to put some dirt in your eye.
Yeah, put some dirt in your eye. And we get a shot of the homeless woman with her doll as well as the cat during this sequence. We see her tending to her baby, and then you see the cat on the table. and she hears what's happening around her, but she doesn't do anything just yet. Arthur shoots her again in the side without any emotion. This is kind of like, Nick, what you're saying. He just kind of looks at her. And he has like...
Yeah.
Art the Clown has the dullest face he has the entire movie, looking down at her because she nearly defeated him, and he's just looking at her at her with no emotion on his face, just with the gun at her. Shoots her in the...
Straight up, just like...
Yeah, no expression whatsoever. And shoots her again in the side without emotion. He doesn't even care if he's beat fairly. He's taking advantage of her. Like, what slasher is a slasher horror character and has a gun? I don't think I've seen it.
Ghostface.
Does he regularly have a gun?
No.
But and plus Ghostface changes.
The first one.
Okay.
In the first one, he had a gun, but it wasn't. I don't think he's wearing the costume.
That's like at the end.
Yeah.
And he never uses the gun.
No, he uses it.
When Ghostface is running around doing his thing.
Not as Ghostface. Yeah, not as Ghostface.
He only uses the knife and he allows them to get away. He never uses the gun as Ghostface, right? Like,
not dressed as Ghostface, but like if we're talking like who is Ghostface, the guy who is Ghostface.
Yeah. But as Ghostface, he doesn't use it. Like as the slasher himself, right? So that's like this is the another surprise about this film is the fact that he pulls out a gun and he uses the gun. And you don't see that really, and props to them. Props to them for this element, and it adds a level of hate and like annoyance with Art. He's like, "Damn, you're really gonna use a gun right now," and it just helps his character build a certain amount of credibility to who he is, what he cares about, and he obviously just cares about killing, and it doesn't matter if he does it fairly or not. But yeah,
it's a surprise, motherfucker.
We get another shot of the homeless woman. That the new neighbors weren't such a good idea after all. Tara's face is shot. Shoots her right in the face, but she lives. Arthur runs out of bullets. Here we go again. Art runs out of bullets. Is annoyed that he runs out of bullets and goes back to his sack, looking for more ammo. Finally, Tara's sister drives up to the building and tries to find a way in. How did she know where to go right away? She literally pulls up to the building, and the car is parked like down the road a little bit. But she I don't know if she like looked at other buildings beforehand, but we only see her walking up to the building that her sister's in, and it's like, how did she kind of instantly know that this is the building of importance?
Sisters have a bond. It's telepathy.
I guess so. But yeah, this is another little pet peeve. But also just another like nitpicky thing that you could mention to criticize the film.
I feel like you would be able to sense your sister if she was like in a building somewhere. You're like,
I don't know. Maybe.
I sense her.
Maybe.
You just run up to the building. Sibling bond.
There's a change in the force.
I sense the disturbance.
Arthur finds more ammo. Tara's phone, which Art now has, receives messages from Vicky, the sister. And Art texts Vicky to go around back. Here's another thing. Who in 2014 did not have a password on their phone?
There are some people.
Some people. But you would think...
the very rare.
Yeah, so I guess this is a situation...
The bold, the brave, the few.
Right, so I guess she's one of the bold, the brave, and few because she didn't have a password on her phone. He was just able to text her. And this is 2014. I don't think you were able... Like, even like nowadays when you receive a text, you could answer it on the home screen. Mm-hmm. Or even the lock screen, I think. It depends.
But you have to have like the face or the thumb or the code.
Right. So he just got access right away.
He could have it was from Tara's phone?
Mm-hmm.
He probably like was like, give me your thumb. Just want like
no, because she was maybe, but because he was at the sack when getting more ammo when this happens. So he opened it right away.
Unless she left it open.
No, it wasn't. It was like on the home screen when she receives the message.
Well, then she's just irresponsible.
Yeah, I guess so.
Super irresponsible. No wonder she got where she got.
So he gets excited from these messages. He replies to her and he says like, "Tara's sick. Meet me in the back." He takes a selfie with Tara's friend dangling, just for funsies.
Just for funsies.
Then comes back to Tara and then loads more shots from his gun into her head without emotion. Goes back to the same emotionless face. The homeless woman watches this happen. She finally goes to investigate what's happening. Arthur notices her watching and waves and smiles hello until she runs away. The homeless woman finds the exterminator and tries to get him to help her. She sounds unbelievable, but tries to tell him the truth about everything. He pushes her down and away from him because she's scaring him, and he makes his way downstairs. He hears Tara's sister calling for someone. He makes a phone call himself to his affiliate or his boss or his coworker, whoever he is, until Art knocks him dead with a hammer. Arthur then smashes the phone to bits once he hears somebody else is on the other line. The homeless woman goes back to her lair to find her baby doll missing. So during that time when she's going to get him, he goes and finds her doll. Tara's sister makes her way into the building from the back. And this is a little weird because you see it later in the film, like there is a way to get in from the back. So at first I was like, this is weird, but there is a way to get through in the back. The homeless woman goes down and tries to find her daughter in like these basements, these tunnels. And she finds Art cradling her baby on the ground. And you kind of feel to begin with he's just playing around and he's just having fun. She asks if there is kindness in Arthur, asking if he's ever felt a mother's touch. He seems intrigued. She asks if he can even show mercy, for the baby is all that she has, and asks for him to spare her baby. She then touches Arthur's face, and he seems to enjoy it. She goes and hugs him and cradles him, and he cradles back and forth as he sucks his thumb. And you're like, this guy is messed up. And you never know. This could be real. Like, this could be a moment where he's actually, like, transported to a time where...
I needed this.
Right. It could have been that kind of thing, but who knows? The second exterminator shows up and tries to get inside to no prevail. It's locked. Vicky, Tara's sister, can't find Tara. Calls her and hears Dawn's phone. She finds Dawn's body and freaks out. Yeah, imagine that. She runs back up the stairs, attempting to run, but she hears someone screaming. She goes to investigate, thinking it's Tara. She then thinks she finds the homeless woman bleeding out, and it's very believable. I remember I rewatched it like 5 months back, and it still got me because I forgot.
Yeah.
Well, she finds this woman on the ground bleeding, and she thinks it's the homeless woman, but we discover it's Art, and he's wearing the scalp and breasts that he cut off the homeless woman. And he goes all the way up the stairs as he wears her chest and her scalp. And he slowly approaches Dawn, who's trying to escape. Vicky. Art is fully nude and parades around slowly, imitating a woman. He's literally just nude. And he's like prancing around. He's flicking his hair back. And you're like, wow. It's just like...
That is one of the most disturbing parts of this film, aside from like the Dawn death scene.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the most disturbing parts of the film.
Yeah, because it gets you. You're like, oh man, like she's bleeding, and then you discover it's Art, and he's just parading around like this. And the actor who plays him is so good. He really is so good.
He's good, dude.
He basically lets her take her time. She hides in a cabinet, and it seems like Arthur knows where she is. He fake walks away, then shakes the cabinet vigorously. He's just toying with his food. Mm-hmm. He stops once he hears the second exterminator honking from outside. He finds a key under the mat before he leaves and gives up. So he basically goes to give up and leave, but he finds a key, opens the door. Vicky remains in the cabinet as the exterminator walks around looking for Mike. Mike is the first exterminator who got allegedly killed. Henry finds bloody footprints, follows them, finds the homeless woman's doll, picks it up, and is snuck up on by Art, who stabs him in the skull and proceeds to cut and rip off his head. Overall, it looks good, with a couple of shots looking kind of fake, but honestly mostly good. And when I mean good, I mean special effects.
Yeah.
Just to clarify for anybody watching. He then kicks his head like a football. Arthur hears someone make noise, ringing a bell, and he goes to investigate. So this is weird. So He hears someone making some noise in the background. And he hears the bell ring, and we eventually find out that's the tricycle. So I don't know if he already it was there or a cat made the tricycle made the bell go off. But it's not clarified how he knows that the tricycle is there, and we hear a soundbite of the tricycle's bell. That's another like kind of nitpicky thing. Like we don't really know how he heard it, or if he heard it at all. I don't know. Maybe we heard him in his head hearing the bell, and that's like the spark of his idea to go fool around on the tricycle. Anyway, Vicky makes her way out of the cabinet, finding human flesh around the floor. Tries to leave a locked door until we see Art riding a tricycle. Then Vicky finds the tricycle unoccupied and looks for another escape. Art finds her, gags her with saran wrap until she opens the wrap with her fingers. Smart girl. She grabs a spike and stabs his foot, and then he proceeds to flip her off. And that was hilarious as well.
Yeah.
He's just like, screw you.
Fuck you.
Yeah. It's like, dick. Like, the exterminator is still alive and is seen crawling around. Vicky continues to find a way out. She finds her sister's body propped up with a sign saying circus. She grieves a little bit up until Art sneaks up on her. He does a lot of this. He always sneaks up on people right behind them. Sneaks up on her, thrashing her repeatedly with some sort of chain device that seems to have surgical instruments attached to the end of them. Like the exterminator, knocks out Art and proceeds to pull Vicky into a room that he seemingly locks. Henry seems a bit too clear-headed here. And what I mean by this is he was literally struck in the head with a hammer and knocked unconscious. And he's like so lucid and clear-headed that it's ridiculous. But this could just be adrenaline. But at the same time, it's like nothing happened to him. And I was a little like, you could at least like grab his head or something. But he doesn't.
Continuity.
Yeah, continuity. He calls the police and afterward ignores their instructions to stay where they are. And he tries to find an exit so that he can take Vicky to the hospital. Art finds him and knocks him out. I think he uses his exterminator big canister to knock him out that we see earlier in the film. He then stomps his head in. And Vicky is cornered at the doors, but she finds a metal pipe. She tries to break the lock, and Art walks slowly up to her, and eventually she does break the lock, not before Art grabs her. She gouges his eye, seemingly with a finger. I couldn't really tell what she used, but it's probably her finger. And then I
think it was her finger.
Yeah. After she gouges his eye, she goes back outside, and then goes back inside. I think it's because if she went outside, he probably would have caught up with her somehow, some way. So she like went around the building and like went back inside. I still don't fully understand. I'm not gonna lie, I still don't fully understand.
He gets bored of a budget choice.
Yeah, I want to be.
You can't afford multiple locations.
Maybe
just go back inside.
Yeah, so I respect
It'll be
that.
fine.
That's probably the case. So she goes back inside. She goes out and goes back in through like this back door where it's like a loose wood. It's like very thin wood, and she kind of just presses it and then goes through.
Panel door.
Art follows. She gets to the doors, and she kind of just sits there. She's like looking around. She just sits there, and he's like, "Well, he can't get me now," but he's literally right behind her and grabs her hair. She pulls away. He takes a chunk of her hair.
Dude.
She screams at him. She just starts screaming at him, and then he retaliates by blowing a bike horn at her, and that was hilarious. He's just like, "Oh, you're screaming at me? Like, you're being annoying. Stop screaming at me." And he's using like a bike horn. That by itself.
I can be louder than you.
Yeah, I can be louder than you. Exactly. And I guess he just had that on him the entire time.
Probably.
Yeah.
He's got pockets.
I guess he's got pockets. Mary Poppins up here.
Not with bullets, though. Not with bullets.
She grabs a weapon and then disappears. Yeah, not bullets. He doesn't have bullets, but he has a horn. We hear the cops about to arrive. Art explodes the doors with the extermination truck, and he's jamming out to some jazz. He inspects Vicky's unconscious body until the police find him eating her face. Because he's like stiffing at her, and then he eventually starts eating her. The police tell him to show his hands. He shows one hand, and there's these great shots actually of like the camera right up on his face, and he's like going from like different stages of a smile, like a smaller smile to a big grin into a huge smile, an evil smile. Grabs his gun puts it in his mouth, turns at them, and shoots himself in the mouth, and it looked pretty realistic.
Dude, it was insane, that
Yeah,
shot.
it was great. Like the way that they're directing the movie and the special effects were phenomenal. They really were. You can't not admit that. We hear Vicky still alive from the incident, and the cops confirm this. Art and Mike's body is brought into the morgue. He opens the body bag. Mike's first, who we see his head once again bashed in. We then see Art and finds Art's body smiling and looking right at him. The lights flicker wildly. A cross is shown. The phone and radio go crazy before Art grabs the doctor's neck. And we don't know what happens here, but he either chokes him to death or we don't know for sure.
We find out in the sequel.
We find out in this one that that there's some
the sequel opens up.
Oh yeah, you're right. No, you're right. It does open up that way. Yeah. So if you want to mention it, you can.
We'll leave it for people for the second review.
Okay. But essentially, this is the first reveal, other than the previous movies that are not affiliated with this one. All Hallows Eve, that Art does have a supernatural element to him. And it's not the first time we've seen slasher films go to supernatural element. I mean, Friday the 13th, like...
Big one.
Big one. Isn't one of them like Jason Goes to Hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he goes to space. Talk about
Goes Manhattan.
He goes to Manhattan. I mean, talk about like milking a franchise, dude. Oh my goodness.
That one, Friday the 13th, is one of the few franchises that you could really say like they milked the fuck out of the franchise.
Right. They really did. He went to space, man. He went to space. Jason went to space.
Part 6 is the first time we see the supernatural aspect of Jason, though.
Okay.
Part 6.
But it does happen. But obviously, this is an element to Art that the director had all along because it was an All Hallows Eve. But yeah. 1 year later, we see Vicky about to leave the hospital. Her voice sounds just like it did in the beginning of the film. Her father turns her around and we see the victim that we've seen from the beginning of the movie. And it was Vicky the whole time. And that is the end of the movie. Dude, it's just solid acting. It's not great, but it works fine. It's not distracting. The cinematography works as well. It's not great either, but it does work totally fine. Not distracting.
It serves its purpose.
Serves its purpose. Everything serves its purpose. The director knew what he wanted, and he got it, and he did it. The actor who played the clown, phenomenal. He played Art. He makes the film. I mean, obviously, Art is the driving force behind the film, and that's without saying. But you could have another actor playing Art the Clown, and he could be horrible. Especially due to the fact that Art doesn't speak. All of his actions and his dialogue is through his actions themselves.
Very
the way
slapstick.
Yeah, very slapstick, right. And I'm going to get into a fun fact about that, actually. But, man, this is, 2014, 2016?
2016.
And you have this film come out. And, man, it made waves into the horror and slasher realm of film. And it's so easy to see why. And it's so easy to see why this is almost an instant classic when it comes to horror and slasher movies. This is an instant 4K buy. This is an instant rewatchable movie. It's only an hour and 25 movie. It's only an hour and 25 minutes. It's really short, and at times it feels long, but it's paced so well. The pacing is done very well, so that it's kind of like the movie Azrael that we're going to talk about with Val.
Ooh.
The pacing just keeps you intrigued the entire time, and every shot that they have, every scene that they have, they do it with purpose and intent. There's no filler. Everything has its journey. Every character has their journey. From the moment they're alive until the moment they die. And the music, it's very 80s-esque.
Great.
Like, the music is great. And the music as well, if you have any other type of music, it could work. But I think the music was perfect for what the director was going for. The feel of the horror, the feel of the slasher element, the feel of art, and the settings, the locations. The music just worked so well for everything. very 80s-esque. What goes around comes around. We're seeing that today, like 80s retro styles coming back, 70s retro styles coming back. Um,
Yeah,
and
a
this
lot of
is
aspects.
a lot of aspects to old classic pop culture styles, filmmaking,
Trends.
it's all making a comeback right now, and that's only because that there was great content and great culture back then. And it's really awesome to see that we're like people are making vintage clothing, they're making vintage looking films. This is one of them,
Yeah.
and this movie has a heartbeat of its own that is so easily you could easily revisit it. Like there's some films that I'll review, and I won't even really want to watch them again. I'll just watch like a breakdown because there's no need. But this one
Medieval Lurks.
yeah, like this one I don't mind watching again if I had to, and I did.
This is a fun time. It's a
It
fun time
yeah.
because it feels like a classic slasher horror movie, like a blast from the past. You're just, but as if it was re-released 4K Ultra like remastered today.
I can see that. Any other thoughts from you about the film by itself? Like any like overall?
By itself.
You heard what I have to say.
I think for me, David Howard Thornton, I believe that's his full name.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I genuinely believe that if there was ever going to be someone who could be the Joker, who's not like main, like I said, I think I said this off stream,
Yeah, you said it on
off
stream.
the recording, off recording. But I genuinely believe that he could be the next Joker, the next big Joker. Like I know we got Barry Keoghan, I think his name is, in the Batman,
Mm-hmm.
but and we only saw a short little bit of him in that, but I just don't feel like that's the right person for that character. You need someone who's very expressive, very animated, and I feel like a lot of his characters that he's done have been always been very tame, very reserved,
And we'll
very
see,
calculated.
because I mean, in a role like that, everybody is still so young, and
Yeah.
he's in jail, and it wasn't like I do partially agree, but I
Well,
like the way that he's revealed in the sense where we don't get too much of him, and that's fine. We don't really see him, and
yeah.
that's fine. We don't hear his potential, and that's fine. I
Seeing David Howard Thornton and how he played Art, there is a lot of potential for a really great Joker there. And like we just got Joaquin Phoenix a couple years ago, we got him back now, and that's a whole different version, not very close to the comics, which is fine. But I feel like we could get a really good comic accurate portrayal from Art the Clown.
right.
And if they were able to go hard R with a Batman movie or a Joker Batman movie, this is the guy to bring on board.
Mm.
Because he would not be hesitant. He'd be like, let's do it. Because he's already done everything you can imagine on. That's fucked up. He'd be like, okay, let's go.
I mean, he could definitely do it in terms of like the serious elements of the Joker that are just so deep and twisted. I mean,
Hmm.
even like the Batman video games, dude. Like we really do get to see the Joker in full fledged action, like that. And the games insinuate so much
Hmm.
about how screwed up the Joker is and how he manipulates people and brainwashes them and uses them as like his own pets and like use them as soldiers and what he does to people in general and how he manipulates them. I mean, the games themselves show the evil of the Joker in so many ways. But of course, like Nick is saying, the comics by themselves, I could see like a combination of like the games and classic Joker interpretation kind of combined with this actor. I can see that.
Like, imagine David Howard Thornton as a Joker, and they made a live action version of like Death in the Family
Right.
or the Court of Owls storyline with the Joker in it.
I mean, I think that's next, but we'll see.
Because like I could see them doing like the face mask version of a Joker with him.
Okay.
Like that I could see. Because
Right.
that was a fucking Joker. That was a fucking
Yeah.
Joker. And there's like the whole reveal of the family where Batman thinks they're all his family's dead or their heads are being cut off. And there's that whole reveal going on there in the comics. And that, I feel like that could be like that seems like something like give Damian Leone keys or like the fucking right to do a Batman. I mean it's Elseworld. He'll make a fucking intense Batman movie that's like comic, pretty comic like aligned.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say accurate, but very aligned to the comics, more than we've probably seen in the
Right.
last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, the movie itself, I'll say just a great time. Honestly, like Jacob said, a 4K, buy it in 4K. Rewatch it. Like it has the rewatchability that you could pop it in whenever. You're
Mm-hmm.
just bored. Want to watch something that's a little creepy but also kind of fun. Pop that on. It's a great introduction to like an intense level of horror for friends because it's not too long. It's got a little bit of everything in it. Um, and it's a great starting point for this whole franchise.
Slasher. Uh, Also for slasher people who want to get slasher movies. People just want to get slasher movies. I mean, you could
Exactly.
probably still say that Halloween is probably the movie to open up with, and I would have to agree that Halloween is definitely a great start. But for the modern viewer, Terrifier is a good way to go as well.
Yeah.
So let's get into some fun facts here, man. Director Damien Leone created Art the Clown because he felt that the 2010s lacked an iconic horror clown. However, he purposely made Art as different from its Pennywise as possible. For example, Art doesn't have hair, he wears all black and white, no color, uses weapons, and doesn't speak. So he's trying to, like, really separate it from anything else that was done before.
Yeah.
Yeah. The latex face mold for Art the Clown was the same used by Mike Gianelli, and that was the original from All Hallows Eve. They used the same mold in order to keep the look of the character consistent between the film appearances. The mold had to be modified to fit David Howard Thornton's face. So maybe All Hallows Eve does have a direct correlation with these movies. Maybe it is kind of in the same timeline.
Sick.
I mean, maybe.
I could think so. I mean,
That's cool. I mean, I actually haven't seen All Hallows Eve in full. I've seen scenes. I haven't seen the second one, but I do intend on watching both. But I think it would make sense why they would be in the same
first
universe.
one's kind of like a little bit of an anthology thing, but it's
Okay.
all like, it's really
Right.
condensed.
Right. Okay. David Howard Thornton describes Art as, quote, evil Mr. Bean. He was also inspired by other silent and physical actors, such as Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, Lon
Yes.
Chaney, Doug Jones, and Jim Carrey. So you're right. It is kind of like that slapstick kind of feel. You
Mhm.
you kind of nailed it on the head there.
Buster Keaton is my fucking, and Charlie Chaplin. I love both those guys, with my whole heart.
Mike Gianelli, the original Art the Clown in The Ninth Circle, Terrifier 2011, and All Hallows Eve, decided not to reprise his role due to how long it would take to apply the heavy prosthetics and makeup. And that's when David came in and took his place. Director Damien Leone said of this change, Mike may as well have been a guy dressed as a clown, whereas David is a clown. He is a walking cartoon. He is Roger Rabbit in real life, and you never believe that he's Art the Clown, but he knows how to flip the switch and bring it to a dark place. I mean, it's kind of like
That's nice.
dug a hole for his past castmate. He just kind of like was like he literally said
He's
Mike
like,
may as well have been a guy dressed as a clown.
yeah. He's like, he didn't bring anything to the role. He just came in, did his part, and left. That's essentially.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's like, David Howard
Yeah.
Thornton though.
And he
That guy
made it
fucks.
his thing, man. He's got a
He's like,
Zippo.
that guy fucks. He's got a Zippo.
The jack-o'-lantern shown in the pizza parlor is indeed CGI. Director Damien Leone said he wanted the scene to have more of a Halloween feel to it, so he added it in post-production.
I don't know when I don't know what time frame there's a shot in. Just go to Dollar Tree. They sell pumpkins with. I literally wait. Hold up. Well, they have this pumpkin. I'm pretty sure it's from Dollar Tree. And
Yeah, but he wanted to make his head out of the jack-o'-lantern. It's like a little bit of a homage, but did his own thing.
oh, you mean the head jack-o'-lantern?
Yeah, the head jack-o'-lantern.
Oh, I think he actually like put a jack-o'-lantern in the.
No, you
thing.
used the jack-o'-lantern of the head into it because he wanted it to have the kind of like a Halloween feel.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it
'Cause I was
did.
like,
Like,
dude,
it
just get
was-
a jack-o'-lantern and just put it in the
No, it's
spooky season.
spooky season. But I thought it looked great. But yeah, it's fully CGI.
Sick, dude.
David Howard. I wonder how much that costed. David Howard Thornton, while on break during filming, spotted two women arguing in the street. He decided to wave at them in full makeup and costume and to freak them out.
It's like, we're friends now. Let's run for our lives.
So, you
Sorry.
could just tell the guy just took advantage of, like, his role and his... Yeah, it's just cool.
Dude, as he should.
Art the Clown's flail, and that was that chain whipping mechanism that he had. It's
Shit was
made
crazy.
it's made out of the hair of his victims, along with sharp metal implements, and you see that a lot. I mean, this kind of might go back into his backstory a little bit because he uses like doctor instruments, like medical instruments, like scalpels, scissors. It looks exactly like them. So and maybe it could be a backstory thing, or maybe he just found them and used them.
Okay.
Maybe rummage through a trash bin at a hospital or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. David Howard Thornton's favorite fictional character is the Joker, and
Sick.
hopes to one day portray him, which he has in a short film, but that's it. And
James Gunn.
voice acted it.
Lock in James Gunn.
Will the Exterminator is played by Michael Levy, who is also the Staten Island Clown. This character apparently started the viral scary clown craze in 2014, 2 years prior to the Great Clown Panic of 2016, the same year this was filmed and released. So, like,
Dude,
he has connection
time
to that.
Release it.
Yeah, right? But it's interesting.
Holy shit.
Interesting that the guy who Will the Exterminator played by Michael Levy, he was, quote, the Staten Island Clown, which is like one clown by itself. And then his character apparently started the viral scary clown craze in 2014, which then led to the Great Clown Panic in 2016, the same year that the film was released. I mean, if you think about it, like people were freaked out.
That was huge.
Yeah,
it was around the country.
Yeah, around the country.
There was I don't know if we watched it together. I think we did. That what's the name of the clown? It was a clown like found footage movie documentary type thing.
Oh yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
They interviewed that clown. And he's like, and then it's like, oh, we're get the big reveal at the end. It actually was like not actually him. It was somebody else. And it cuts back to a shot of him like opening up the drawer from underneath the little girl's bed. And he just kind of like sits up as the clown. I forgot what his name was.
I vaguely remember that.
Started with S.
Okay.
But it was horror. It was horrifying. It was horrifying. It was a really good little documentary, though.
Interesting fun fact here, though.
Yes.
David Howard Thornton ad-libbed a moment of Art the Clown flipping off Victoria after she stabs him in the foot with the railroad spike. This made the crew laugh so much that director Damien Leone decided to keep it in. This happened in the raw footage, which was not technically part of the film. So the actress who played Victoria had to be digitally removed from the shot.
Oh shit!
Because it wasn't like it was raw footage. It wasn't like part of the I think I'm assuming they kept rolling, and he just and they just ad libbed it and just flipped her off, and they liked it so much that they just kept it in, digitally removed her, which is interesting. It's just cool.
They're like, that was great.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! Wait, she's still in it.
Right. Exactly. Jenna Gannell, who plays Tara, insisted on remaining tied up in between takes of the scene so that she would feel psychologically as if she were tied up when filming. Jenna Gannell, who plays Tara, performed all her own stunts as well.
Nice.
She was. It seemed like a lot of people who were in this film were pretty devoted to it and believed in it. And Jenna, who played Tara, was. She obviously wanted to be as in it as possible.
Dude, I give her props, dude. I really did like her in this movie.
No, me too.
Really did. There were decisions her character made, which I know weren't based like her decisions, and I was kind of like, what the fuck? But I liked her, and I would have loved to seen her have like continue onwards.
It's interesting that you have a slasher movie in which the main woman dies, and then there's another one who comes in and continues, and is now the main focus. You know what I mean?
Shout out to, I know her name, sir. I think it's Lauren. Let me just pull it up.
Which one?
Quick. Then in the sequel.
Oh.
Lauren Lavera. I hope I pronounced your name right if you're ever do see this. But yeah, she is in 2 and 3. She's the new lead. And honestly, one of my favorite final girls ever. Hopefully, I get to meet her one day. But yeah, dude, she's kick ass too. Like her and Tara, top
Mm-hmm.
two. Laurie Strode's fallen down the ladder over the years, but um, her and Tara probably my top two right now.
Cool. All right. Next up, while looking for original horror scenes that had never been done before, director and special effects creator Damien Leone read books about medieval forms of torture for inspiration. This eventually led to Dawn's death scene where she is literally sawed in half.
Holy shit.
He dove deep.
He went like, I'm trying to be original as fuck.
Yep.
And he was.
I respect it.
Respect.
At the beginning of the film, in Monica's dressing room, where there is a sign which reads, "The end is just a new beginning." This foreshadows the ending reveal that the first scene, in fact, takes place after all the other events depicted in the film have already gone, and that the unnamed deformed girl being interviewed is Victoria. So the end
Yeah,
is
the
just the
whole
beginning.
movie is like a flashback.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
In a sense, yeah.
And there's no real indication of that either. It just kind of just
Right.
jumps and spawns in
Except
on you.
the sign that's in the dressing room.
Yeah.
All right, last one. In All Hallows Eve, it was made clear that Art the Clown was supernatural and not just a human in a clown suit, and it is not clear in this film until the end that Art has some supernatural presence, as I have stated before. So, Nick, what's your favorite scene?
My favorite scene? Probably the iconic,
Yeah, me too.
most notable one.
Yep.
The
She pulls up to the door, tries to leave, and he's there.
just there.
It's such. I remember laughing out loud whenever you watched it the first time. Whenever you watched it, and it was like my second or third time going around. I like literally laughed out loud because of how funny it was.
That's how you know. That's how you know.
That's how you know it's good. And favorite shot for me would be, like I said, Art in the alleyway because it's just dark. You can
Ooh.
barely see his face, but you could see him smiling and in his clown costume. It just looks so creepy. That was, I mean,
Fuck, that's a good one.
other than the shot when he's about to pull the gun on himself, that's probably my number one.
The cinematography is not like that. It's not like award-winning.
Right.
It serves its purpose. It gets the job done. But there's so many memorable shots in this movie.
Yeah, the directing was great.
There's so many memorable shots. Like composition, lighting, all that stuff that plays a huge part in that as well.
Right.
And just that just gives more props and just another pat on the back, some claps to the DP and the camera team and all them, and the director, of
Yep.
course, because when you think of Art the Clown, you don't really think of a lot of Terrifier 2. Obviously, it hasn't been around as long, but you think of a lot of the shots from Terrifier,
Right.
and it's just so good, dude. Just so good.
I agree. So with the like elements that you just addressed, because it's not a perfect movie. There's those little things that could be counted as inconsistencies, and there are little things that can be, criticized due to like a moment like when she stabs him in the back and then she runs away. I mean that could be a little realistic for some people out in the world, but little things that. Like, what the hell? Like, how did the sister know to go to that specific building? How did she know that she was there? Just little things could drop it down more. But just how well the movie works, the flow, the shots, directing, the cinematography to an extent, everything works so well together. It's a great concoction. And especially when it comes to what it's going to do for the future horror generation and the future horror culture, man, like this could be considered the Halloween of our time. Of our time.
Oh, shit. I think you might be right.
Because there's nothing
And
else that reaches the way other than that movie that just came out, something with evil. It was a slasher film, and the guy he wore that fireman's mask. I don't know if you saw it. I don't think you saw it.
fireman's mask?
Yeah, he wore an old fireman's
Oh,
helmet.
yeah. I saw that. I saw it.
You know what I'm
With
talking
Tiffany.
about. I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
In the Violent Nature.
Something in a violent nature.
So that could kind of be up there in terms of like a Friday
That's
the 13th
Jason.
element. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody compared it to that when it was coming out and
That makes
stuff. Everyone's
sense.
like, dude, it's Jason, just not Jason.
But there wouldn't be Jason. There wouldn't be Freddy without Michael.
Yeah, that's the
Michael.
thing. That's what I was. That's like when you said this could be the Halloween of this generation. In my head, I'm like, no, it's definitely more like Freddy with like how animated and like slapstick. But then I thought about it, I'm like, no, there's nothing. There's no other like slashers or like killers that are super prominent right now. And I would probably say like this might be right. This might be the Michael Myers of our generation.
Because Michael. I mean, when the movie I just said 5 seconds ago, In a Violent Nature, that came out after Terrifier. Like,
Yep,
who
a long
knows
time after Terrifier.
exactly? So who knows what this movie has done already? But I mean, this is why I'm giving it a 4 when Halloween could probably get like a 4.5 or a 5.
Mm.
You know, like I'm gonna rewatch it if we do a review on it. But right now it's like a 4.5 for me. Halloween itself,
Hmm.
but it is genuinely better than this film in a lot of ways. But this film carries its weight so well, and it fits our time. It doesn't fit back then as much, and this really could be that sort of influence and make that sort of an impact like Halloween did back in its time in the 70s. Of course, you
It's,
have Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I can't remember if that came out before or after Halloween. I think it came out before.
since it's come out, I'd say since 2016, the last 10 years almost. I don't think we've really gotten any super iconic slashers aside from In a Violent Nature's character.
Mm-hmm.
Um Aside from that, we've got like Brahms from The Boy.
Mm-hmm.
He's not very memorable because they kind of screwed that pooch with the second film. We had the killer from Hush, but that was just like it would have been more iconic had he not taken off his mask, which is coming back in theaters, 4K remaster, um, this October. So we could do a review on that.
True.
Who else have we gotten? Um, that's just main point there. Main point case right there. We haven't really gotten a lot of memorable slashers or killers in the last 10 years, aside from Art the Clown and the killer from In a Violent Nature, whose name kind of is
Right.
escaping me. That was a memorable movie though. Very good. Very original
Like I have a
in a
list
sense.
here of this is made
That
10,
was
11 years ago.
hmm
It gives us The Hills Have Eyes, Wrong Turn, Manhunt, the Halloween remake, The Collector, which could be up there.
The Collector is definitely up there, but he's not that big. He's like kind
Right.
of small. Yeah,
Um,
like C tier.
Hatchet, The Devil's
Oh, Victor
Rejects.
Crowley. Victor Crowley's up there.
I think The Devil's Rejects and that realm of film is not the modern, but definitely like the new. Not Texas Chainsaw. It might be. I don't know. I'm just comparing and contrasting a bunch of other stuff. Um,
I would say Victor Crowley's probably up there with the Terrifier, because that's Hatchet. That's the Hatchet movie,
right.
and that's the guy who played Jason plays him, and
It's hard.
that
It's
has like a
hard.
huge.
Yeah, it's hard to like.
Oh,
I
we could
think
do a separate video just completely talking about like tiers and
that's true.
slashers
Yeah,
for this month.
like the fact
And
that the
that would
guy
only.
who, yeah, I don't know, man. Is that movie like too close to home?
What do you mean? Hatchet?
Yeah, because like Terrifier is its own thing, but carries the slasher essence. You know,
I would
um,
say Hatchet's very similar to In a Violent Nature as well as that's similar to Friday the 13th.
mm-hmm.
They're both roughly loosely based on it, inspired by.
Right.
Victor Crowley a little bit more than In a Violent Nature. But Hatchet has had like a strong fan base, strong following. It's one of the one of those like cult following
Right, right,
franchises,
right, right.
especially because it's got like Jason Voorhees himself portraying this new killer, and it's in the same realm as I would say Art the Clown and Terrifier, with how far they're willing to go for certain kills and what they're willing to show.
But in terms of overall story, feel,
It's good.
all the elements of Terrifier, I think it just beats everything.
Terrifier definitely beats a lot of these other things. I wouldn't say in terms of story though. I'd say Hatchet's probably got a better story
Mm-hmm.
and like backstory because
Right.
we don't really get a lot of backstory or anything, which is fine for Terrifier. We don't. That's when they in the second film where they tap into that a little bit more, not fully, but just a little bit.
I think that's what
Um,
helps the first film so much as well, though. It's
it's
not,
mysterious.
yeah, and but you don't care yet. You think about it
Mm-mm.
after the fact, like who is Art, or who is he, who was he, where does he come
How do
from?
you survive?
Right. It doesn't make it does. It's not even with Halloween and Friday 13th is different, but of course the second one you have more of a backstory. The first one's different, obviously, because it's the mother.
Yeah.
But the fact that this movie does what it did without that, without the element of a backstory in any way, shape, or form, that speaks volumes by itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The fact that this
No, I
movie
hear you.
like doesn't have a backstory, and it made it like this good of a slasher film, that by itself is an achievement.
Yeah, it came on the scene. It said, I don't need to explain myself. I don't need to explain anything.
Right.
But it was like, here's my shit. Don't forget it. And nobody forgot it. It stuck with them.
And I'll stand by that claim that it's our
Generations
generation's
Halloween.
Halloween. Yeah.
I could work with that. I could work with that. Like
What do
if
you?
you think, really thinking about it, I could work with that.
Mm-hmm. And what's your
And
rating?
that's sad.
It's
I'd say
sad.
four.
Okay.
4 stars. I'd say it's sad that even this generation's trilogy for Halloween doesn't meet this standard.
Right.
Like the only thing I'll say from the new trilogy that is fucking phenomenal, the score, the mask, the costuming, and the actor who played Michael Myers.
Right.
That's it. Oh, fuck. No, and what's her name? Hold up. Nope. What's her fucking name? Annie Matichak? She also was one of the better things in that fucking film,
Okay.
that franchise. But still, even with all those great things, the new trilogy that we got from David Gordon Green doesn't meet the level
Even Terrified touches.
of greatness that Terrifier has. With the first movie, just straight out the gate, the first movie doesn't meet that, doesn't match that.
Yep. And that has the
And this is
biggest budget you could
completely,
think of. That has the biggest
it
budget you
does.
could think of.
And this is without like thinking about Terrifier 2 or the shorts or anything like that. It's just thinking strictly Terrifier. The new 3 films with Michael Myers, with all those great things that I mentioned, it doesn't touch it. Doesn't touch it. And
Guess
that's
the
gonna piss
budget
off a lot of Halloween fans.
of Terrifier.
Say like 100,000?
Nope. Oh, lower.
5,000?
Higher than 5.
10,000?
Higher.
20,000?
A little higher.
30,000?
Little higher. Just a little bit.
40,000?
35.
Holy shit.
$35,000 was the budget. Um, Here is the budget for Halloween 2018.
2018? Oh god.
$10 million.
Brother.
$10 million.
It literally, looking back on this trilogy by David Gordon Green, feels like the Star Wars sequel trilogy. It feels like we got it feels like David Gordon Green didn't have one concise story he wanted to tell. It feels like he kind of just rehashed things from the original to put into the new one, and that we basically got like a New Hope all over again. And it's just Like, don't get me wrong, I love the first one, first installment of the series, but even that one has its problems and its issues and its flaws. Um, but fuck, dude, $10 million and you guys dropped the ball.
Terrifier had $35,000 to work with. I mean, granted, we did have a man who directed it who was also into the special effects scene, so that helps. But it still had $35,000, and you could see it, and you know that, the actors and actresses didn't have a lot to work with, but they too, it seemed like they were invested in the story. I mean, they didn't get paid a lot, probably. I mean, you know what I mean?
Probably not.
Maybe they were paid a little more on the side, but $35 for a budget, it's like
It's not much.
they had two settings. It was the streets, the pizza shop, and then the building. And then
Building.
they also filmed a portion. I left this out of the fun facts, but a portion when they're in those tunnels, that was in the tunnels of an old hospital, and those are the tunnels that you would use to take the bodies to go to the crematorium.
Ooh, that's scary.
Yeah, but man, this movie does so much with $35,000.
It did. It really did.
And it is the Halloween Regeneration. If you don't know already, we have a tier list, a horror movie tier list. At the bottom, we have Salt and Burn It. Shout out to Supernatural fans out there. We have Straight to the Grave. Above that, we have So Bad It's Good. Next is Put It on a Shirt. Next is Scarred for Life. And at the most tippy toppest point, Therapy Required. Nick, I want you to go first.
I was just going through my Halloween ranking, like my rankings and like what I gave him on Letterboxd. I'm like, holy fuck. For me though, for the Terrifier, I will say this is probably Scarred for Life. Scarred for Life.
Yeah, I want to give it Therapy Required so bad.
Yeah.
I really do, man.
I feel like, okay, hear me out. If we had just watched this, never seen anything before, anything related to it, and we weren't like the horror people that we were. This was our first horror movie. Therapy Required. 100%. Just based off of everything that happens in it alone, I feel like this would be a Therapy Required for like a first timer.
I think the only scene that would kick that would be the song in half.
No, just like the reveal of Vicky.
Yeah, maybe, but that I don't know. It's not
'Cause
too
think about it.
surprising because you see it in the beginning.
I know, but think about like, but it's all distorted and stuff, and then you finally see it after like that 5 minute like interview, and you see like the full thing. But like, try to think of it from like a first time seeing anything like this kind of perspective, like your first horror introduction.
Yeah, I think my gut.
Like you've never seen it.
I have to go with my gut here and go with Scarred for Life. I have to. It's just because there is. I totally agree with that, but I feel like the face and then the sawing wasn't enough. I don't know if that makes sense, but
You're just desensitized from
I
everything.
mean,
you've seen.
I'm not denying that.
Yeah,
I'm also.
but like Ben Kenobi said, from another perspective, this is scarred for life. Or Therapy Required. This is Therapy Required for some people.
What are you giving it?
I'm reverting back to my first time watching it when I wasn't as desensitized.
As a film,
Even
what it
as
could
a
do
film?
to a person. Yeah.
Therapy Required. What it could do for a person. If we're talking that aspect, what it could do to a person,
In
and this is their
totality.
first.
Yeah.
If this is their first.
No,
horror
this
film
is
ever.
this is a horror film. Is it going to go into the levels of it giving people the need to go to therapy? Yes or no? Does it reach? Is it above scarring you for life, where you might need to go talk to somebody about it?
I feel like possibly for the female audience, they might need to go see somebody after this. Because if you think about it from another perspective, it's not that impossible that this could happen to them. And seeing that in a film so explicitly and so visual, like so just right in your face, I feel like it could send some people to go see something.
All right. Yep. Therapy Required. Let's do it. It's our
Required.
the first movie that we're reviewing, and we're putting it on Therapy Required. First one that reaches that level.
I feel like it's valid.
I think
I
it
feel
is.
like it's valid.
I feel like I'm also desensitized to the idea.
Out of
that
all
of
the
that happening.
movies, I feel like this is the one that does deserve that title.
And I think the second one might even get there too.
Mm-hmm. Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Like if we
So
did the original Hellraiser, probably put that up there too.
maybe.
The original
I just
Hellraiser.
watched it, so I would. I mean, we could review on it, but
Yeah.
I think it would. I think it would at least give a Scarred for Life. I don't think it's so deep where it would make you want to go to therapy.
Compared to the newer one
Yeah, I
that
know.
we
Yeah.
watched.
All right, but this review has lasted long enough. If you guys enjoyed, please give us a like. So please subscribe for future content. In the comments below, let us know what you would rate it, both in your own terms and also on our tier list. We'd be very much interested if you made it this far through the film, the
Yes.
video. Like I said, man, looking forward to the second one. It's spooky season, so I'm happy that we're doing these ones specifically to review. And yeah, man,
You want to
we'll see if we do All Hallows Eve. We'll see, but I don't think it's too necessary right now. But
do,
we're gonna do the second Terrifier next week. Keep a lookout for that. Nick, any closing
do
thoughts?
you want to yes. I'm excited for the second one. We watched that one together like with our friend Michael, I believe too as well. He wasn't that interested, I believe. But aside from that, do you want to give him a little hint of what else is happening this month that's a little different than usual and a little
Well,
special?
we're gonna be doing some
We're
more
so
horror. I mean, it's spooky season, so we want to take advantage of this as a channel and also as people. It's spooky season also for as people. We want to watch more scary movies, even though we watch a lot. So even though we
hmm
watch a lot of scary movies, it's gonna be spooky season. It gets us in the spirit to watch more. In that time, Nick will be busy. He's got a hurricane coming his way down in Florida. And there's a bunch of horror movies coming out anyway. And I went and saw a couple of them with a friend just to go have some fun. And I think we might bring him along as a for a guest role, a guest host role. So those two movies will probably be Bagman and Azrael. So we might be posting 2 a week for a couple, 2-3 weeks, I would say. We'll see what happens. But as Nick is busy dealing with the hurricane and whatever happens after work and all that, we're gonna fill in those gaps with our co-host, which will be Valentino, which I have mentioned before, and hopefully
hmm
that goes through and doesn't fall through. We'll see what happens. But that keep a lookout for those as well. It's gonna be exciting. Spooky season is here. We are excited, and yeah, man, it's like one of our favorite times of the year.
I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite month of the year, my favorite season. I'm not up there right now to enjoy all the weather changes and
Mm-hmm.
the decorations and all that, but
The
I got my
leaves.
pumpkin here. Got my pumpkin.
You cut out there for a
That's
second.
doing it for me.
You cut out there
Oh,
for
I
a
got
second.
my pump.
Oh, your
Can you hear
pumpkin,
me?
yeah. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I got my pumpkin, and I'm trying to make it work.
Mm-hmm. Hey, man,
Oh,
you're here in spirit, and it lives inside of you. So
throw some leaves for me.
I'll throw some leaves for you. But that's it. Keep a lookout for those reviews coming out. Have a happy spooky season, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See you guys.
Peace.